What is the timeline from that moment, 18, to frustration and animosity towards Ben?
Well, I had already had animosity towards him.
Why is that?
So in December, some months before, I put out a tweet on Twitter, and I had about 1,000 followers on Twitter. 1,000. Think of that's not a big account. And I tweeted, I said, if you put China over America, you should go to China. If you put Mexico over America, you should go to Mexico. You see where this is going? I said, if you put Israel over America, you should go live in Israel. Shapiro quote tweeted that and said, accusing Jews of dual loyalty is the surest sign that you're an anti-Semite.
Had 1,000 followers? Why would he retweet that?
Someone must have sent it to him.
Does he know anything about you at the time? Like, are you a formidable name in a circle that he would know about you?
He had been tipped off about me because Cassie Dylan had filmed this debate I did on campus.
Yeah.
She live streamed it on Twitter, and he saw it. And she texted him and said, you got to take this guy under your wing. He's unbelievable. He's the next big thing. He's a little Trumpy, she goes, because they hated Trump at that time.
Who was their candidate? I know they were DeSantis 2020, but who were they, 2024, but who were they during that time?
In 2016, they were for Rubio, Cruz.
Oh,
ultimately.
Cruz was it back at that time. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she says you got to go because he's a little bit Trumpy. And then what's his response to her?
He said, I'll take a look at him. I'll take a look at him.
And she told you that? So she said to you, I told Ben he should, and he said he'll take a look at you.
She sent me the screenshot, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So now this is starting to make sense. So at this point, while you're going through this, you when you put that tweet out, were you directing it towards him or not at all? Was it a general blanket statement?
It was a blanket statement.
So it was nothing like a little bit, 10% was towards Ben.
I didn't tag him or anything. I mean,
I know, but were you like saying this is towards him? Because if you're saying, you know, the feeling, when did you first get a feeling that Ben is Israel first?
It was, it was right around the time that I realized that there was a lot of Israel first.
So is this before December of, what would it be, 16? Is this
It was around that time,
okay.
right around that time.
So you're kind of going through this process where you're like, I think Ben is Israel first. I don't know why he's not supporting Trump and he's going more Ted. And maybe Ted would be more pro-Israel. Even we saw the conversation with Ted and on what do you call it, Tucker a couple months ago, which I thought it was a great show on both ends. I actually liked watching it. I think it was good for the viewership. So you're talking to her. What is your goal in mind with her? Do you have any goal in mind? Like, do you want her to convert to your way of thinking? Are you trying to kind of tell her, man, listen, you're going to the dark side of where you're going right now? Is that kind of where you're going or not at all?
I was just, at that point, I wasn't even sure that I was right about any of it. I was earnestly asking.
Got it. Okay.
And saying why, like when I said, why do we give Israel this much money? At that time, that was not a rhetorical question. Because now it sort of is. When we say, why does Israel get more money? It's sort of a rhetorical begging the question because they have this extraordinary influence. At that time, I was earnestly wondering, is there a reason? Is there a justified good reason that there is this special relationship between the countries?
Yep.
Because that is what she believed. And, they would give these answers, but I would debate. I would say, well, here's why that doesn't stand up. Here's why that doesn't make sense. And they became frustrated that I wouldn't let that go. Okay,
so Ben retweets a guy's tweet with only 1,000 followers. But he knows about you because Cassie already told him that you should take this guy under your wings and he could be somebody. Is Ben married at the time?
I don't know.
Can you see was Ben married in December of 2016, right? December 2016? Has Ben married in 2016? Spouse? Yes, okay. So he's already married. So he's already married. He's got his family. He's doing his thing. This happens. She steps away. You can't believe it. So that relationship is gone. Do you all of a sudden just go, boom, double down on it? On points against Israel? Is that kind of where it goes? Or are you still subtle about it?
At that point, I was still somewhat subtle about it. At least publicly.
When did you go full on? Because if I'm not mistaken, I mean, you saw like the arguments against Israel happened a lot in the last, since October 7th, right? Mm-hmm. Charlie Kirk was sitting right here where you're sitting at in our other building, but in that seat. And it was 3 days or 4 days after October 7th. I think we were the first podcast he did where he actually questioned, how is it? He asked very fair questions. We're like, that's actually a very good question. How do you say you have the best intel, yet you're able to get them to attack you. You can't have one or the other, right? So innocent questions people are asking. I'm not speculating. I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is it's a good question for us to ask. So it wasn't like he was being anti-Semitic. He's purely asking a question, right? When did you go to that level?
To the level of asking questions or beyond that?
Beyond that.
Beyond that, I would say it would have to be later that year. So later in the spring or summer of that year.
That year is
2017.
2017. Okay, so why 2017?
Well, like I said, I had been on this journey when I got into college and started asking these questions. And then I encountered this very political response, which is to say that they started to treat me as an adversary politically instead of like an interlocutor, instead of like I was debating them about this. And, you know, the next step in that, of course, is that here's the best part. They didn't leave me alone. It's not like they said, we can't be friends. You do your thing. We do our thing. I got a call a couple weeks after the fact from my boss at RSBN. So I was doing the show America First on YouTube. This is a small company at this time run by Jacob and Joe Seals. They founded it. I get a call from Joe Seals, who runs the company, and he says, what's going on with you and Cassie? I said, well, we had this falling out. You know, she told me she doesn't want to be my friend anymore.
Is Cassie a big name that people know who she is, or?
She was a rising star. She wasn't big at that time. She had 20,000 followers. So she wasn't anybody, but he calls me up and says, the reason I'm asking is because she has been calling me every day for the past 2 weeks, complaining about you and saying, did you see what he said on his show? That's so racist. Did you see what he said on his show? Asking to pull my show off the air.
Got it.
And then it was a couple months later that the first hit piece ever was written about me by Media Matters. And I strongly believe, and I believe there was evidence for this at one point, that she sent in a clip from my show to Media Matters for America, left-wing organization.
Huh. So what is the worst thing you've said? At that time, what is the worst thing you've said? Have you said anything? You've said some crazy things. I mean, I've read some of the stuff that you said. Half the time, I don't know if you're doing it because you're trying to get under people's skin, if you fully believe it, or you're trolling. I don't know. Could be any of those things. Only you know what you're doing at that time when you're making certain comments. But what is the most vile, extreme thing that some people may say you've said up until that point that's causing Cassie to message Media Matters and others saying, you have to see what this guy's saying?
Up to that point, and this was the subject of the article, I was talking about the Muslim ban. And I said the Trump Muslim ban, the travel ban.
Yep.
I said, the First Amendment does not apply to radical Muslims. I said, you don't have a First Amendment right to preach Wahhabist, Salafist ideology, that's the theology of ISIS.
So you're defending Trump?
Yes.
Okay. That's the worst thing you've said?
That was the subject of the article. That was the worst thing
So
I'd
you've
said.
not said, so why would she be against that though?
She was in favor of that.
So then what is she forwarding to Media Matters for them to write?
Because she knew that, because it's a left-wing organization, that they would use that to try to get me canceled or banned. It would be negative press.
And you know this for a fact that she emailed it? I don't want to put anything. You know for a fact that she's the one that reached out to
I
Media
heard it
Matters.
secondhand, so I don't know it
So we don't know for a fact. We're just saying you're speculating she may have done that, but you know that the other person that called you saying for the last 2 weeks, you know that for a fact.
Yes.
That's firsthand.
Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough.
Hi, I'm Nick Fuentes. If you want to text me or call me or ask me a question, you can find me on Minect.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.